Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Pod from the Bunker. My name is Kev from the Bunker on Twitch. If you would like to watch this show live on Twitch, I do it every Monday night at 9 and or 11 p.m. Our next guest today is all the way on the west coast of British Columbia in the Nelson region. And she and her husband have a duo called Sly Violet. She is the Violet part of that, and her husband is the Sly part of that. They have toured across the country a number of times. She has some good training. I believe she has some conservatory training on the piano. She's a great friend of mine, longtime friend, and so I'd like to welcome in today Miss Violet of Sly Violet. Hello, madam. How are you today? Thank you for
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for being here. It's been a long time since I've seen your face, actually.
I know. It has been.
It's a pleasure.
A couple years.
Your hair looks long and healthy. It was not that long last time I saw it.
Thank you. Been growing it out. Yep. Working on that.
Awesome. And how is life on the West Coast for you these days?
Life is good. Getting better as things are evolving over the grand scheme of life.
Of course. Yeah, it's been hard.
Yeah.
I know that you tour across the country, and you obviously haven't been able to do that for a couple of years, but are you starting to look into potential bookings yet, or what's that looking like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have been able to start playing locally in like the Kootenay region of BC. The last, I guess since October, I started gigging again, but just small amounts. But hopefully this summer things are starting to look like a lot better, and I'm already getting more and more bookings coming along. So by summer, hopefully I'll be touring regionally just throughout BC and maybe a bit to Alberta. And then we'll see if I can get further away once time goes on. But yeah, we've got a lot of music venues around the Nelson area, and it's kind of nice to just be staying local actually right now and not be traveling far, just playing close to home gigs. So
that's kind of what I do.
Actually.
I'm just like I would call myself a stateside road warrior, because I just kind of stay in Ontario within a couple hours of my place. I will venture a little farther if it's okay financially to do so, but generally it's I kind of stay what I would call stateside. Can I ask you, Violet, what is music?
What is music? That's a question.
We're going deep today.
Like, what is music to me?
Yeah, to you. Yeah, of course. That answer is different for everyone. So I don't like to say for you, because, of course, I think it has to be for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to me, music is kind of like a language or a form of communication.
Okay.
So I feel like it's a way to express things that you can't always say in words, and you can't always even there is no language for sometimes, but you can get that message across through the sounds of music,
and
putting your words to it and the feeling. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's kind of like a language, but it's like also so many other things. Like it brings people happiness and joy. It helps you through the bad times and the good times. It's like helps you remember events just when you hear an old song and it triggers an old memory. Like there's
so powerful.
So many great things. Yeah.
I've often said that if we took music away for 24 hours, and we would all realize the value of it. If we went into every store and it was silent, if the wedding that happened that day was silent, if the elevator was silent, there was no car radios for one full day, then I think finally everyone in the world would realize, oh yeah, we listen to it all the time. It's in every car commercial. It's in every Super Bowl, everything, It's very undervalued, and it's fascinating to be a person who creates it and then has to just live with the fact that it's not really as valued as you'd like it to be. What do you consider success?
Like in the music industry, or success in anything, I guess. Jeez. I used to look at success a lot differently, but the pandemic has changed my views on a lot of things.
Of course.
For a long time, I didn't feel like I was a successful musician. But then now that I start to look back at things that I've done, I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm all right. I've done quite a few things at this point. But it takes a lot of work to feel like you've succeeded. And I don't know, just a lot of time. But then sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for what we've done. And so I think during the pandemic, the time off, there's a lot of time to think, way too much time to think. But some of that was coming to realize that success is different in music than it used to be, or how people traditionally thought. Like even, some of my family members, they look at success as if you're on the radio and you're like Justin Bieber and you're like
Yeah.
raking in the millions and you got like millions of followers and you're touring worldwide. But that's just the smallest little bit of music
Yeah.
success, I think. And there's so many musicians like that I've met over the years in Canada who are successful, but you might have never heard of them, but they're successful in other ways because they continue to put out music, they're putting out recordings, they're playing shows, they're developing a fan base, whether it's tiny or big, you're still successful, I think, in music is if you just keep putting out music and keep playing. So.
Yeah. I think if you're generating some sort of happiness for yourself or for others, then that you can measure that as success. But there's also that financial thing, and it becomes a difficult thing because, a lot of musicians need to have a second job or a part-time job. And so I would consider success is if you're able to, have a little side hustle and, enjoy it. I think you're doing okay. Mm-hmm. So do you make most of your living or all of your living from music, or have you in the past?
There have been times when I have, and there have been other times where I'm grinding and working full time and even two jobs and doing music as, on the weekends. And so it's always been up and down. And actually, like 2 years ago, we had decided we were going to commit, actually 2.5 years ago, right before the pandemic.
Right.
That fall. Like we had done 60 shows in the 8 months leading up to the pandemic. And at that point, we were like, okay, we're going full time. We're quitting all this other work. We're going to commit to it. And then, like, right away, it was pandemic, canceled all our tours and everything. So right now, I actually started a new business during the pandemic. My husband and I both started a weed store, cannabis store.
Nice.
So that is my side hustle, and music is still the main priority. But yeah, right now the gigs are slow, and there's not much music income from online sources.
Yeah.
There is spots, but it's limited compared to the live music industry. Of course. That's where I've always the money is just playing gigs. So.
Yeah, of course. It always has been and always will be. But that's great. Like, I mean, to be honest, I feel like probably most of the Rolling Stones were selling cannabis to support their rock and roll back in the day too. Just it wasn't with a license from the government.
So yeah, it goes with the rock star lifestyle, I guess.
Absolutely.
Swinging some dope and playing gigs when I can.
Absolutely. Well, everyone who's out there watching across the world, we're in Canada, one of the few places in the world where recreational cannabis is actually sold here by the government. So just so everyone's well aware, no rules are being broken over here. So when I say success, I did, we talked about financial, but how do you balance making art and making money? Because I know I do a whole bunch of cover gigs and it's not my most favorite thing to do. I mean, I actually do enjoy it, but I would much rather enjoy if I had my own 200 songs to play every night to 50 to 100 people. How do you sort of balance like finances and art and trying to make money, but also trying to just be an artist?
It's challenging for sure. I think I've played a lot, same as you, like I do a lot of originals and a lot of cover songs. And yeah, sometimes the cover gigs do pay better than the gigs where you're playing your own music. But I try to now play as much of my own stuff as possible and then sneak in a cover here and there just to catch people's ear and they hear something they know and sing along for a moment. Then it catches their interest back again and then keep playing my originals, because over time I've found that people do really like originals, and maybe before I was holding myself back thinking, oh, they just want to hear a cover song. You just assume that they want to hear something familiar, but some people really appreciate something new and different. So, and I feel like I perform my original stuff with a lot more, zest and heart and soul and things like that. So, so now that I'm like trying to just force myself to play originals as much as possible, it actually like, I don't know, it's good. It's out in BC too. There's a little bit more, I feel like there's great appreciation for the music industry, like music performers in BC and on the East Coast, like either end of Canada. There's a really appreciative audience for original music too. So.
Yeah. We just had
Sometimes depends where you're playing.
we just had a guest on who's had said a lot of similar things to you. He's been winning awards at the East Coast Music Awards and Blues Awards for 20 years. He's a well accomplished musician, and he said he's gone to bed many nights wondering if he was going to be able to pay his bills and if he should just quit playing music. And like he's plays theaters across Canada, like theaters. So it's a grind, and success is something that, you know, we talked about it with Charlie, is like, I feel like there's sort of plateaus and levels to it. So like you can be successful at what level that I might be successful at, or you, and then Charlie, and then Justin Bieber. There's just different levels of success. And so for you, if it's just, you know, paying your bills, then that's a win. What is your end goal with music?
I guess, like, yeah, paying the bills is important. The main thing in people's work career is paying the bills. But music is more than that, I think, because I can't stop doing it. And I've tried, like, I've had a few years off. Like, even before the pandemic, I was forced to take a couple of years off of music from a couple bad injuries I had, and shoulder injury and broken arm and things like this. So I'm all fine and recovered now. But when I was forced to take time off for that and for the pandemic, it was like, okay, I can't really live well. I don't function well if I can't play music and share music with people. I'm just not happy with it.
So like you said earlier,
it's an outlet.
Yeah, just as long as you're able to release music, then you feel successful then.
Yeah, and I think also the connection with people too. Like, not just putting out the music. Like, I noticed too during the pandemic that putting out videos isn't as rewarding. Like, putting out YouTube videos and content isn't as good of a feeling as playing live for people, because you don't get to see the other people on the other side of the screen, right?
Yeah.
So I love that connection with people that you can see they're enjoying themselves, they're having a good night, they're feeling something, they're, you know,
I've said that to my
vibe that you're giving people.
Yeah, I said that to my Twitch. Twitch stream, where I've been like, "Hey guys, I can't see your reactions. You tapping your toes or smiling or singing along or humming or whatever. So it's just not the same reaction. But everyone does their best on the computer. It's hard to convey love or affection across a screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally.
And so, you want me to play a video of yours first, or do you want to perform a song first? What do you think would be best?
I could play a song.
You want to perform first?
Sure.
So what song are you going to play, and can you tell us a little bit about it first?
I'm going to play one that's called Passing Me By. And I wrote this one maybe 3 years ago when I was like working all the time, grinding. And it was about just how time seems to get faster. Like, the older you get, it seems like the faster time goes. And and just when you're working all the time and just days and weeks are flying by. So it was about trying to realize what's most important and slowing things down, and I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the full screen here, but it's going to be a little weird stinger. So just give yourself about 5 seconds before you get going, all right?
All right. It's passing me by. Days, they just fly. Weeks come and go where I don't know. It's passing me by. I wake up every morning, I think I'll be okay, but somehow I blink and I missed another day. Just working for the weekend until my work is done. But weekends come and weekends go, I start to come undone. Gotta wake up and stand up and savor what we've got, 'cause you know we've got each other and each other is a love. We gotta want less so we can work less, and we can live more and love more, and days won't pass us by, so that days don't pass us by, 'cause it's passing me by. Days, they just fly. Weeks come and go where I don't know. It's passing me by. of the essence, our time is all we've got. Somehow we've spent all this time at working jobs. I'm tired of the rat race, I'm tired of it all. Believe me when I say I've given it my all. Gotta wake up, stand up, and savor what we've got. Cause you know we've got each other, and each other is a lot. We gotta want less, so we can work less, and we can live more and love more. And days won't pass us by, so that days don't pass us by. Cause it's passing me by. Days they just fly. Weeks come and go where I don't know. It's passing me by. It's passing me by. Days they just fly. Weeks come and go where I don't know. It's passing me by.
Well done, madam. Bravo.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I always find that time actually speeds up, because it's so relative. And I've had this conversation with your husband many, many times, but that song just made me think about we're getting older and time is definitely speeding up, for sure.
Yeah. Like when you're a little kid and you're 10 years old and the 2 months of summer, like that July, August summer vacation seems to last forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, the seasons just fly by. Summer comes and goes.
I know. Well, I was thinking about it just over the course of the pandemic as well. My sister had a baby in June 2019. So the portion of her life that the pandemic was like 95% of her life was pandemic. And of the portion of my life it was like less than a percentage. It was such a small percentage. I mean, now it's become a bigger percentage, but it's just relative and it's very fascinating. So that one hits home for me for sure. You said earlier that you realized that you couldn't live without music, and I call that the bug. Do you know when you first got the bug?
Oh. When I was little, I've always since I have my earliest memories, I was playing music at 3 years old. I was taking piano lessons when I was 3 years old, and that was almost the same time I was learning the English language. I was learning to play music. So early on, I always loved it. My older sister, she also took piano lessons, and she would my mom had to force her to practice, and me, I'd get home and I'd be stoked to play, and I just wanted to practice my songs. I just loved it.
Yeah, of course.
So I think I was just enthralled with it when I was young, since my parents are musical. So I think knowing that my dad would always play guitar and sing when I was growing up, and hearing him play music was always captivating. I think probably he was one of big influences there to just keep me engaged with it and see how much fun it could be. Yeah.
You started piano at a young age and you took it all the way through. Do you have your full conservatory grade 12, is it? I'm not sure. I don't know anything about this, but can you tell us about your piano background?
I went to grade 8 in piano, Royal Conservatory.
Okay.
So classical. And then I did grade 2 in theory, and I did that by the time I was 13. So was finishing grade 8 in school, and I finished my grade 8 in music as well the same year.
Oh, wow.
So then after that, when I was 13, I bought my first guitar and started teaching myself how to play. And actually before that, when I was 10, I started playing ukulele.
Right.
And I would play ukulele, playing along with my dad playing guitar. My hands were a little too small for the guitar, but then eventually when I was 13, got my first guitar, started playing that, and about 19, I started playing harmonica. And now, those are my main harmonica, guitar, my main things, but I still love playing piano. So.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. And over time, obviously you started playing. Did you have a period there where you actually didn't like it at all? There was no period where you're like, I don't really want to do this anymore. Because some kids have that little blank spot in there, I feel where it's not cool enough and then it's cool again and they go back. There was none of that going on?
I think there was around, when that time when I was transitioning from piano to guitar, I was just getting a little bored. Like I knew enough at piano and I wanted to do more
Right.
like modern songs, and I was getting bored with the classical music. So
I'm like,
then,
yeah, Alanis was out, right? Come on.
yeah, Alanis, and I was, learning Eric Clapton and
Right.
like Tracy Chapman in those days and stuff like that. So it was like, yeah, just being able to transition to modern music and pop music and folk music and other varieties of classicals.
Do you think classical
Yeah.
really helped you with songwriting or with playing, learning the guitar? How does that help you along your journey with the classical background?
Definitely helped a lot. Classical music, you don't have lyrics. You're just focusing on the sound of the instrument. So I learned a lot about like how to evoke emotion through the sounds with
Right.
like your dynamics of the song, the quiet, the loud, the like crescendos when you're getting louder and getting quieter,
Yep.
decrescendo, and like different things to put emotion and feeling and like a message into your song when it's only instrumental.
Right.
So I think that's a really good thing about classical music that teaches you. And also when I was a kid, I'd always do like festivals and like performances. When I would take the music exams, I was always like this little kid on stage, like playing these pianos and
Yeah.
recitals and things. So I feel like that helped me get some early confidence in being able to play in front of audiences
Of
because I
course.
was super shy as a kid, like, and it was nerve wracking to do, but I just kept pushing myself to do it over and over. And then with the more you do it, the easier it gets, right?
Of
But
course.
yeah.
And so when you got into like playing rock star music and stuff like that, what was the first song you wrote? Like how do you remember that journey and like why it came out, how it came out? Was it, I mean, everyone's is usually pretty horrible. I mean, I don't, what, do you still play yours by chance?
Well, my first album I recorded when I was 19, and that was a lot of songs I had written between the age of like 17, 18. And yeah, some of those songs I still play actually. Like
Amazing.
they're still good songs, I think. And
Right
some of
on.
them, no, some of them don't get played at all, and they may never get played again. But there's a few keepers that are still kicking around. So
What was that album
I don't
about?
know.
About teen angst?
Sure, there's definitely a bit of teen angst in there. Um, yeah, I had some hard times in high school and depression, anxiety, things like that. And I moved a lot growing up throughout childhood, so I like never had, too many long-term friends or any long-term friends. So it was
Yeah.
always like music was there for me and like something I could dive into. And I didn't, moving all the time, you don't always have other things that people to occupy with. It
Yeah.
was like, okay, I can play music, I can entertain myself, I can write songs. And so I think there's benefits to going through some
Hardship.
difficulties,
Yeah.
hardships, then that like I won't get into too much of it. But definitely that first album was born from some hard times, and then it was also a way to work through those times and put it into words when I couldn't express things verbally. It was like, okay, I can put it into a song and try to get this message across through that way.
Well, that was my next question. I
Yeah.
mean, I think like that helped the healing process. Like, I mean, it's obviously been a journey and there's, many more years to come. Like we talk pretty openly in my stream about mental health awareness and we have a couple commands for crisis helplines and different things. So I mean, you don't have to say anything about it, but did it help you with your healing process? Do you think music continues to do that or?
Yeah, I think like mental health is like a lifelong journey. There's highs and lows, and there's good times and bads, and sometimes, it's like you think you're doing all right for a while, and then something else crazy happens, and you got to deal with the down times again. So I'm starting to realize that at my wise old age of my early 30s.
Yeah. But you realize you're never out of the woods though, right? You just,
Yeah, there's shit just keeps coming, no matter how much you think you're prepared for it.
yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely music still helps me, and even just listening to other people's music is a great way to, yeah, just heal yourself and feel better and
Relate
I don't
well and
know,
know someone that
relate to something.
yeah, someone has the same emotion going on as you and like you can feel it in their song and like yeah, like I mean for me music is something that like really like I have a hard time, I say this often, but like, I have a hard time listening to like love songs if I'm not in a loving relationship at the time because people yearn for that and then they're talking about this thing or breakups or whatever, like it really hits me so hard. But at the same time I found over the pandemic that the only time that I could actually take my mind off of the pandemic was when I was performing on Twitch, and these people were my saving grace, and sitting on that stool right over there, and
Nice.
for hours at a time was my only solace. So I can totally relate to that. And I mean, everyone has their own different journeys, and I would never compare mine to anybody's, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely been helpful for me very much.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about performing, like whether it's for live stream or on a stage, whatever. When you're performing, you know other people are watching. You're able to like disconnect from reality, and you're able to go into the songs and pour yourself into that, and you can disconnect from the world. It's like getting into flow state. You probably know about flow state. Yeah, that's totally how I get into flow state, is either snowboarding or playing music. Yeah, for on stage is you get into this other mind state where you can escape. So it's good. Yes. Yeah, I like to play at ski resorts. There's always like I love snowboarding and I love skiing, so I find a lot in common with the people that are at these places, and they like similar music, so it's always a good time. Yeah. Yeah, so I filmed a 10 music video series during the pandemic. The first year of the pandemic, I was like, what the fuck are we gonna do? We can't play live. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear on your podcast. Uh, but yeah, it was like, what the fuck can we do? Like, how can we get music across? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn how to make music videos. I'd made a few before, very mediocre, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna figure this out. And I was teaching myself how to edit videos, and luckily, my husband Sly was willing to operate the camera, so he filmed a bunch of songs, and we hiked around the mountains in like Banff and Fernie, Revelstoke. We actually got some of the ski hills would give us or gave us a pass to go up during the summertime on the chairlift, so we could hike around the mountains and film. Um, so that was sweet, and we got together all this footage during the summer of 2020, and filmed in just the most beautiful spots. Like the one we're gonna watch is filmed in Fernie at Fernie Alpine Resort, and you can see the mountain bikers going by and like the beauty of the summer day there. And yeah, if you're interested in watching the whole series, you can find it on my YouTube channel. And some of the others are just epic, beautiful places. Like it's undescribable. Like Moraine Lake, it's this turquoise teal colored lake in Banff, and oh, just
Putting the
take your time,
visuals with
check
the
it out.
music, it gives it a whole nother level of emotion. Again, like the
Yeah.
sound gives you an emotion, the lyric and the melody, of course, and then like the sonic sound of it, the lyric, the melody, and then now we can add that other layer of seeing beautiful visuals that can bring another whole essence to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
so
totally the goal. Yeah, was trying to bring together the beauty of a place with a song that matched that place. So I had to think of a song and try to meld the idea together to. It was fun to create.
no, I love it. It's great, and it's, as a musician, it's also like, hey, we're gonna learn something a little bit new about video. Like even here doing this podcast is the whole new thing about sound and video. And while you were answering there, I had another sound garble go on, I guess. So I did reset the sound in a very slick way. No one probably knew, but I'm gonna tell everyone because it's a reality. It happened.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna click over to the video now. So I'm actually gonna put you on mute while the video plays. So if you make any noise, it doesn't disturb the beautiful performance and the beautiful video. And I'll bring you back in a second. So everybody enjoy this video. It's called Adore by Sly Violet.
my way. Every time I'm dancing, every time I'm dancing, I step on your toes. That's how it goes. Every time I'm sleeping, every time I'm sleeping, you hold me tight all through the night. Every time I'm trying to ups and downs, you'll always be around. It's you that I adore, not searching anymore. It's you that I adore. It's you that I adore, not searching anymore. It's you that I adore. It's you that I adore, not searching anymore. It's you that I adore.
Hello. We are back.
Hello.
And we had some technical difficulties, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to edit your video over top of it in the other video. So, yeah, maybe we'll get you to send that to me.
Cool. I will.
It just didn't line up with the audio for some reason, but that's okay. It was a beautiful song, beautiful visuals.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done. And you said you did a whole 10 of those. I will have the links for that in the YouTube description below. And if you actually use Command Violet right now in the Twitch chat, oopsie. So I actually hit a button there and took us off screen. Trying to type your name in chat. If you type Violet in chat, it will give all the links, so you guys can go check out that whole video series. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah. What's your dream venue or festival?
There's so many good festivals. Canada's just full of good festivals. There's
You had to
so
pick
many.
one,
I
though.
don't know. I don't know.
Can you narrow it down to two?
No, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just
Like, my
I would
dream-
like to play more festivals.
I
But
think my dream
yeah.
like show, festival or venue would be like Massey Hall. Like I would love to play theater. Like a 2,000
Yeah.
soft seat theater where it's just me and my guitar and a bottle of wine on stage and like some low lights. That's kind of my like ultimate. You can keep the stadium show. You can have that. I don't think I want that. Is there like a venue in particular? Do you think you like clubs, theaters,
Well-
stadiums? What's the ideal venue for you?
I will say that we were going to be playing at the Fernie Stoke Festival the week after the pandemic hit. So that was like, got canceled like 5 days out. And that was a super exciting festival that we were stoked to play, the Stoke Fest.
Okay.
So that one I hope to still play again in the future, the next year that it comes back.
Right.
And I just love the town of Fernie, so it just would be amazing to play there at that festival show. And there's a lot of small festivals out here in BC that would be just amazing. Like there's Vancouver Folk Festival, or I mean the Vancouver Island Folk Festival, and like Caslow Jazz Festival, and I don't know. I like all the small ones. I really have the best time when I go to like the smaller homegrown festivals.
Yeah,
not
and on
the
your-
giant ones where it costs $500 to get in for the weekend. Like I like a normal sized, well, I say normal, I mean small size
Yeah.
venues. I always like smaller venues and smaller festivals. So
And I think your music kind of it goes with that too. Like you have a folk style and you have an acoustic guitar, and like unless you're Ed Sheeran doing an acoustic guitar in the middle of a stadium like Wembley Stadium is like pretty, it's just not really
Yeah.
the same intimacy. Like, music is about sharing. And so I think that like the intimacy level of what you do is better fitted for that. It definitely makes sense. Is there like a dream artist that you would like to open for or go on tour with?
I've always been a fan of Hayden. and he's from Toronto. I'm a big fan of Jen Grant. She has the same beautiful red hair, and she's from Nova Scotia too.
Okay.
Jen Grant's amazing. She's on tour with Blue Rodeo right now, actually.
Oh,
So that's
wow. I've heard that
great
name
for her.
definitely before. I'm sure Charlie, our last guest, would know of her too. He's an East Coast mainstay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have friends in Fernie called their band's Shred Kelly. They're pretty sweet and good upbeat folk music. It'd be sweet to play with them sometime. Yeah,
These are all very attainable.
I don't actually like. Yeah, I don't.
What if I
I
said
don't
Dead
think
or
about
Alive?
these things.
What if I said Dead or Alive? Would that like bring in like Freddie Mercury
Oh,
or something? Like would that bring
okay.
in?
Well, if we're going anyone, then obviously Alanis Morissette.
Okay, it's Alanis.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's anyone. It's your world, girl. Come
I
on.
guess you know what? I've never dreamed of these things. I just
You're
like
allowed
keep my head down and do what's achievable, but I don't think of what's out there. So yeah, sure, Alanis. Let's open for Alanis.
Right, but that's also probably
Great.
what keeps like that's very grounding to hear is like because I feel like I do the same is like I mean I just keep my head down and go for the attainable goals and set them and don't think about trying to open for Alanis Morissette. But also sometimes you got to just go and get rid of that suspend disbelief and say if I had anybody it would be so Alanis. Right on. She was formative for your years.
Yeah, and she's still great. Like I still love her music.
I think is she
this
putting
day.
out new stuff still? Has
I
she?
think so. I feel like she's put
She's
out
touring
something in the
again
last few years.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right on. So, what sparks your creativity? Did I already ask you that? What sparks your creativity? What is it that like when you get? How do you get an idea to go write a song?
Often it's a strong emotion that will trigger me to like need to write something out or make some sound. Like so, yeah. Often like it used to be more often times of like pain and suffering and like like anger, like just things you need to get out that you can't really release. But now I feel like I'm in a better place and I write more happy songs and like upbeat music too. So like it can be inspired by happiness too or just good times. Like I have a song I wrote during the pandemic that was like written on a dark day, but about the good side of the pandemic, if you can imagine that. So like sometimes you write the opposite of how you're feeling, or I do, like complete opposite of what you're feeling, trying to bring yourself out of that state to another state by
Good call.
writing the happiest song when you're not feeling it, or the opposite. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
It's
art
hard
is
to
art.
know,
I mean,
but
it's just an expression. That's why I ask people these questions. There's no right answer to any of these questions. I hope there's not.
yeah.
I mean, and another challenge of getting sparked creativity is a challenge. I feel like, but also another challenge is like recording music. That's a whole other art. So we're performance artists. We perform live, and like I feel like that's my home. But I have a really hard time recording. Do you find the same, or how do you find the recording process?
I traditionally have always been a perfectionist, so I have a hard time recording something and not wanting to re-record and re-record until it's the perfect take of it. Sometimes that's been a thing in the past, but yeah, like I just want it to sound as best as it can, the very best version of the song, because you're recording it and you want people to hear the best version. So sometimes I drive myself a little crazy when
No, of course.
trying to re-record and re-record until it's just where I want it to be. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't recorded in a new album in like since 2015. That was the last time I have made 4 CDs, but over the time, last 6, 7 years, it's just like time's been passing me by.
Yeah. So you wrote a song
Literally.
about it.
So I have a bunch of new songs written, and I've kind of been like waiting till I have enough that I'm happy with to put out an album. And also with the pandemic, I wanted to do one like 2 years ago, but then I'm like, well, why the fuck bother? Because
Can't tour
I can't
it.
tour on that album. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've just been sitting on songs and waiting to the day. But maybe this year will be the year to lay some of them down and
Of course.
more music out there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of try to say I was going to unapologetically release. It's been a little bit slower than I'd like to be. I'd love to be able to release a song once a month or something like that. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever put another album out. I would love the songs to be continuous in some way, like or have some continuity in some way. But What do you think about the modern day singles world? Feed the algorithm thing. You just ignore that, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, it seems like that is the modern way of doing things. That people are just putting out singles
Yeah.
and trying to keep more and more singles coming out instead of full albums. And um, you know, what musician likes Spotify? I don't know any of them, but
I
it's
know
the
zero of
world
them.
we live in. Yeah, so unfortunately, that's just, the way that music has evolved over the last 15 years, and like it's just crazy. Like,
But
and there isn't really the money like in album sales that there used to be. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to. I don't have a solution for that. Maybe if we want to follow all the rules and like jump on the bandwagon, do what everyone's doing, I should be putting out a singles all the time. But I still like the idea of an album, and when someone likes your music enough, they'll listen to the whole album, hopefully on Spotify or on YouTube or something, or maybe even buy a CD. What's that?
yeah. I
Just
mean,
kidding.
or you know what? There's lots of ways for support. Buy a T-shirt or throw a little
Yeah.
toonie in the tip jar, or like there's a lot of ways for digital tips. Like we do that on Twitch a lot, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
People will, if you find the right community, they will put forth a couple dollars in appreciation for what you do. So I've that was one solace that I also found during the pandemic. It was really lovely. Is people do appreciate music if you find the right people, and they connect with it. And I've had quite the journey with that. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So I really don't know where to take this, because I feel like I want to have a friendly conversation with you. How else is life going for you outside of music? Is everything good?
Um, yeah, I feel like things
A new
are definitely in
business
a
and
better place than they have been in. And like we moved to BC 2.5 years ago, and that was another big change. We lived out here for multiple ski seasons and coming and going back and forth between Ontario in the summer and BC in the winter. So it's just nice to actually be settled somewhere. This is the longest we've lived, or I think the longest I've lived, maybe in one place in my whole life, like 2.5 years.
so you're good. You got some roots now.
So I'm starting to get roots, and
Yeah.
like I don't know, we have this small community of Salmo in outside of Nelson, and it's just a really great community. And I host karaoke nights every Thursday and open mic nights every Sunday at our local pub. And
Oh, it's amazing.
I've just been yeah, it's actually sweet to be in one place and playing weekly events because I haven't dove into that before, but now I'm like building up a crowd that comes out reliably over time, and it's nice to see people having a great time, and even people like last night was open mic night, and I had a couple of guys went up to sing who had never been up to sing, and they've been coming to it for months, and I didn't even know they could sing, but they had this hidden talent, and like you see people coming out of their like comfort zone to try playing music because they're seeing other people do it, and they're like, oh, I could do that, I guess. And, yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to see new people going up for karaoke and for open mic and things like it's a
And
good
that's
thing for
another
our
thing,
town.
is like we talked about earlier, is music is such a thing to be shared with others, and like it's such a nice thing when someone is willing to go ahead and like put themselves out there, like it's nerve-wracking to do a performance. It's nerve-wracking to sing,
Yeah.
and especially if they're doing, original songs is another thing, cuz they get pretty personal at times, and it's kind of like your journal, or can be, right? You said to me earlier that it's songs can be things that you just can't really say out loud or something. So like oftentimes you can write them in a song. Do you ever write a character song where you write something that you're maybe feeling in third person for something else? Have you ever done that?
Yes, actually, I made a video about a month ago, and I didn't even share it on any of my socials. I just put it on YouTube. It's because it's such a like emotional song. It's called Deep Beneath the Frost, and I wrote that one in the perspective of a woman that I had never met, but when we were living in Revelstoke several years ago, there was a skiing accident where a couple of guys got out of bounds in the out of the ski boundary, and they went over a cliff, and one of them unfortunately passed away. And so I wrote this song in the perspective of the wife of that guy.
Oh, wow.
So the song Deep Beneath the Frost, it was like because I had been recently married, and I was like imagining the pain of like losing the love of my life,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
what that would be like, and how that would be. So yeah, this song has been so. It's such an emotional song that I like never play it live. I've hardly shared it, but I did make the lyric video for it because I just had this perfect footage they had filmed during the winter, and it went perfect for the song. And so I did a lyric video for it. So it's on YouTube if you want to check it out. I mean,
We have the
that's
link.
one written from a third party.
That's very
perspective.
cool. What makes you happy?
Snowboarding, music, my man,
That's a good answer.
Sly.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, and being outside, sunshine. I love just spending time outside in nature and
Yeah.
going to the river in the summertime and swimming and
That just brings you joy.
hiking.
That's such a good, simple answer, and it should be the answer for most people, I think. Just getting outside and connecting with people is one for me. Like there's some sort of joy that I get with connecting with people when that really brings me back to music all the time. So
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure chatting with you today, Violet. I thank you very much for taking some time with us. Is there anything that you're excited to that you have coming up at all? It could be a show or a video release or music or anything at all.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the future gigs coming back more and more. I am really proud of the videos I've made over the last 2 years because I think it's about 13 videos I've put out.
It's amazing.
And yeah, so those were just a new form of creativity that I'm happy to share if anyone wants to, entertain themselves with some binge watching of YouTube.
Absolutely. So
Enjoy.
yeah, I shared them again here in the chat for Twitch, and all of those links, the YouTube links, will be below in the YouTube description. And if you want to know more, it's slyviolet.com. Pretty simple. All the links will take you from there. And Violet, thank you so much for taking some time with us today. Thanks for sharing some of your music with us, your videos, and much love to you. I love you so much, and I hope to see you in real life soon and give you a big hug.
All right, long distance hug.
Long distance digital hug. Take care of yourself.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Take care.
Uh-oh, come on, computer. Don't die on me. Uh-oh. Crash? Oh, the beauty of post-production. My computer squatted out on us there at the very end. So here we are. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm recording this with no pants on. Just kidding. I have pants on. But thanks for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do this live on Twitch every Monday at 9 and or 11 p.m. If you're watching this on Twitch, then we are over on YouTube with all of our VODs, videos on demand. So head up our YouTube. Everything is right here in front of me. I want to thank Ms. Violet from Sly Violet. All of the links will be in the description of the YouTube video. All of the links have been put in the chat for our Twitch chat all day. And thank you for putting up with a couple little minor little things that I'm going to tweak and make sure that they get fixed. I don't know why my audio is crackling on the stream only. It's not crackling anywhere else. If anyone has any idea what's going on YouTube, you can comment below. I would love it if you would subscribe. I am like 119 subscriptions away from the big 1,000. So help a brother out. Thank you very much. And until next time, keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise.